Hello, good morning or afternoon. Happy Thursday, I should say. I am making this video to help you kind of understand what you're going to be doing today and how to go about doing it. So the things that you are going to need are your Chromebook, possibly your composition notebook if you're still needing to look through it for your body paragraphs. Otherwise, you probably don't need your comp notebook. And then there is a white introduction sheet in the back of the room. I only have enough for one class set. So that means all my classes today have to use that sheet. So you're not actually writing on that sheet, you're using it to help you write your intro while you're typing. So please don't put your name on it or write on it because other students will be using that graphic organizer today. Okay, let's move on. So today you're going to be focusing on your introduction paragraph. You should have body 1, body 2, and your reflection paragraph completed when you walked into class today. Unless you are my period 7 class, okay? Because the UNI students did their lesson. If you are my period 7 class, you have today to do your reflective paragraph. Just keep writing, okay? And tomorrow you guys will do your introduction. But people are in different spots, so some people might be ready for this intro. Let me point you to the introduction, okay? So this is the one that I originally shared with you. It was Miss Vanderweel's sample, and she starts off with what we call a hook. You've probably heard of a hook before, and it's something that just gets the reader's attention before you tell them what your essay is going to be about. A bridge is connecting the hook to your claim. And the claim is in this essay, your claim is, what are the 2 strategies that you're going to be telling us about that help people to overcome their obstacles? So, Miss Vanderweel had 3 strategies: meditating, managing time, and maintaining healthy habits. You only need 2 strategies in your claim because we're only focused on 2 stories. She used a hook called an anecdote, which is kind of like a short story. So I'm just going to read this. It says, the alarm clock blares and Michelle realizes that she's already snoozed the clock 4 times. She's going to be late to school again. She hurriedly puts on her school clothes, runs downstairs, and grabs her backpack. By the time she gets to school, her stomach is growling from skipping breakfast. She also realizes that the big math test she's been dreading is today, and she hasn't studied yet. She thinks to herself, guess it's all downhill from here. Okay, so that's called an anecdote. It's kind of a small story that leads us into the topic. So in between the hook and the claim, she kind of has to say, what is the connection? What's the connection between her attention getter and the strategies that people use to overcome obstacles? So Miss Vanderweel says, everyone has stress in their lives, no matter their age, job, or background. Stress can come from factors outside of people's control, or it can come from avoidable situations that people do have control over. How people deal with stress over time affects the quality of their lives. Now, Miss Vanderweel focused her entire story on stress, not just obstacles in general. You guys will just kind of focus on obstacles in general. Stress obviously can be an obstacle. So you have to pick what's the best hook for you. And like I said, a hook is something at the beginning of the paper to catch the reader's attention and reel them in. Pun intended. Okay, so here's some examples. In the valleys of Malawi, a rickety windmill made of gum trees and scrap metal towers over the village below. That's one example. Here's another one. Hi, my name is Miss Benitez, and I'm going to be talking about the young tinker. Now, one of those is a really bad hook, and one is a really good one. I'm sure in your head you're thinking, okay, the second one was awful. It did not hook me. The first one, though, is really descriptive, and it would work well for our essay. So here's some types of hooks you might use. Personal anecdotes, which is like a personal story, just like Miss Vanderweel used in that example. Using a famous quote. Maybe you look up a quote by Abraham Lincoln or Taylor Swift or whoever, right? It doesn't matter. A hypothetical question. Have you ever or will you ever? A fact or statistic, such as maybe it's how many people are dealing with a certain obstacle. And then imagining a scene. So it could be descriptive, kind of like the one I just read you aloud. Okay, so a personal anecdote. This would be one that's kind of a short story to lead into your essay. So you could start with, when I was younger, a memory that stands out to me is the moment that I broke my arm, right? You don't want to go on, but make it kind of like a short little story. A famous quote. So, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Now that's kind of a boring one if I'm being honest, but you could pick one from like Taylor Swift, or I don't know. I'm not even a Swiftie, you guys, but she just came up in my head. Or, and you could just Google quotes about overcoming obstacles, right? And you could use a famous quote. A hypothetical question. Have you ever noticed that da 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 da, or have you ever wondered, and make it something about overcoming obstacles or how everyone's fighting their own battles, right? Because everyone we know every day has their own struggle, big or small. A fact or statistic. You could Google something about facts or statistics about certain obstacles and put that in. Lastly, imagining a scene, kind of like the one I showed you. In the valleys of Malawi, a rickety windmill made of gum trees and scrap metal towers over the village below. This is an image from the story A Young Tinker, right? So you could kind of describe something or someone in a story and lead that into your paper. When you pick a hook, you are going to put it in either, if you're using a graphic organizer, you're going to type it where it says hook, and you're going to write claim where it says claim. Now, one thing in the graphic organizer is it has 3 strategies to write. You only need 2, so we can just delete that. Okay, so on your graphic organizer, take a second to delete that. So you have 3 parts to your introduction. If you're not using the graphic organizer, you probably just want to grab the white paper one that's on the counter and use that to look off of while you type it. You might be thinking, wait, where am I typing my introduction paragraph? It should be above your body paragraph 1, okay? So going back, people can overcome adversity, that's another word for obstacles, by, and then look at your body paragraph 1. What did you have for your claim there? That would be your first strategy. And what did you have for your claim in body paragraph 2? So maybe I said people can overcome obstacles by having confidence, and maybe that was the one I used for Amy Mullins. And then maybe, let's say the second story I used was perseverance with William Kamkwamba. So I would say by confidence, having confidence, and having perseverance, or persevering. And that would be my claim of the whole essay. The bridge then connects those two. So it's the part that says, what connects my hook to my claim, okay? That is what you need to get done today, is your introduction. So I know this has a lot of slides, but these are just the options that you can use for types of hook. In reality, this introduction should take you, there it is. This introduction should take you no more than 15 minutes, okay? So if you're a person that's finished and you have your intro, body 1, body 2, and your reflection paragraph, then what you can do if you're using the graphic organizer is you can copy this into the other document on Schoology to make it a formal paper. And if you're ready to move to the next step, you can go ahead to Friday's slides and start that. But the goal here today is honestly just to get all of your paragraphs written, and then Friday we will move on to editing. Of course, you can work at your own pace, which means working ahead, but you still need to have all 4 sections done